getting straight into things on this episode of the TAFY podcast and then waving at the subjects as they pass us by. Starting our own cult is where we try to begin, but we end up covering the burning questions of the game of numbers and success, Facebook influencing society, the use of emojis, and the trouble with drinking in the shower or having a bath in brandy. As always, the main topic is avoided like the nutter on a bus, and we don't care much for editing the stream of consciousness that is the TAFY podcast. So we're going to start our own cult then, is the idea. We're not sure whether it's a religious cult or a business cult following or even, well, I don't know, looking at the three of us, I'm not sure whether we could start a fitness guru cult.
We could be the before picture.
I was going to say we're all the before picture. This is how we started. In just 3 weeks' time, there's been no change whatsoever.
Achievable fitness goals. That's what we're setting for people.
Yeah.
AFG.
Yeah.
The thing.
Yeah.
I was because of this topic, obviously not out my own interest, but I was looking into this, and it's really scary how some of the actual cults get people hooked in,
Yeah.
and keep them in. And the one thing that really stood out to me is there's one person, they call them the people that try and get people out of these cults. They actually call them deprogrammers.
Yep.
Like, oh wow, that's
Scary.
scary. And the fact that it takes them like a week constantly with one person, it's like, it is brainwashing still, but but they believe their motive is for good, and it probably is. It's just, the same techniques that got you in to get you out.
Yeah. A little worrying.
I think it's like hypnosis. Do you think there's certain people that it works on and certain people it doesn't?
Well, yes. There are the
Definitely
people that end up in cults and other people that don't end up in cults.
Or maybe we've just not had
Some
the
of it's
opportunity.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure some of it is just if you happen to be in the right group of people, you end up going that way. I think it's probably easier than you might like to think, and it could happen probably more easily to each of us than we'd like to think. I was thinking about this a bit before we came, and we are a bit of a contrary bunch, so it does feel hard to get us into a cult unless the cult was to disagree with everyone else around us, which would be a
Unless
hard cult to keep
that's
together.
what's actually happened.
This is it.
This is it. Yeah, we're the
This is the
cult.
beginning of the cult.
We've got a rock solid core belief between us. Everyone else is wrong. Privately, we think the other two are wrong as well.
I mean, we're not even always private about it, really.
A lot of it seems to come my way. I'm going to say that now.
Well, you tried to start this whole thing up, and look how that went.
Yeah, the power grab. Well, I've not thought about this until just now, but I'm wondering who among us is most susceptible to a cult. And I'm not looking at you, Jack. Well, I am looking at you, but you can't.
Well, let's roll back the clock a few years, shall we? And look at the technology implements that certain members of us used.
Yeah, okay. We'll just take that as, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I can't believe Matt used a BlackBerry for so long.
I thought you were talking about Ryan's Babyliss hair straighteners. I thought that's what we were. Now he's a Kenwood toaster kind of guy.
I am a Kenwood toaster kind of guy. It's got Peekaboo technology, which is really useful.
Pikachu toast.
Pikachu toaster.
Well, yes, I used to have a lot of Apple love.
Yes.
No comma in there.
We deprogrammed you. It's fine.
Yeah.
So years of abuse. That's either a week locked in a room with an expert, or just years of casual abuse.
Yeah.
We did spend quite a few hours in a car together.
Back on the dogging.
Never left.
Road trips.
Yeah.
Peak of you technology. Yeah, it's all coming together.
You can just slide it out and have a look at it and then pop it back in without cancelling.
You, Jack, and Kenwood, all in a van.
No, but
Have you seen Jack's massive cannon?
Sold it.
Well,
Big and white. He got. Oh wow.
Oh, sold quite a lot of things. Camera wise, anyway. Technology. Well, no, in general, sold quite a lot of things. I have the cameras that I use for this and for the live streaming.
For this
stuff.
audio recording.
Yeah. Well, this is the same setup I use for my live streaming.
I know.
It's the Sony mirrorless, the old Black Magic Pocket Cinema camera. It's still awesome.
I'm surprised that's still going. Because like
awesome
they're
camera.
renowned for getting stupidly hot.
Oh yeah, it gets pretty damn warm. It gets warm, but it lasts like a couple of hours for streaming and stuff. And it's plugged in, so it's not like the batteries last literally 20 minutes.
Oh yeah, I was going to say the battery life in even the newer ones, it's not great.
I've not looked for donkeys. Like it does 1080p.
Yeah, one of the places I work, they've got a couple of the Pocket 4Ks, and they're very, very nice cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't last very long on batteries.
It's getting to that point now, though. Like the quality of the footage that they're trying to render out or capture, it's going to use a lot of power until they've got like you think people have thought, oh, this raw imaging stuff is taking up a lot of room and a lot of power. Maybe if somebody could work out a way of compressing it. We used to do that. People used to like the compression because they had good battery life and it used.
Well, no, but compressing it takes power, doesn't it, as well? There's
yeah, true.
There's compromises somewhere.
But no, I was a big believer in the Apple. I don't know whether it's always been like that or whether it's just since I quit, it started getting bad.
I think it has got worse. Yeah.
Has it got worse, or has it just not got better at the same rate?
Yes.
Or just not got better?
That's what I meant by it's got worse.
Like the value, like in terms of the products they produce, they are very good products. They are overpriced for what they are, and they are ruining the word pro. a lot of their pro products are missing a whole host of features that would make them useful for actual professionals.
It's for professionals because they're the only ones that can afford it. They're actually getting paid to use this stuff.
Yeah, but why are they working in coffee shops then?
Well, they're not now.
They can't afford a coffee.
Busy writing their screenplay and they need a lot of coffee to do it.
Yep, that's why you need a
4,000 hour laptop,
paper thin octa-core laptop with 3 hours of battery life, and and can heat up your coffee at the same time.
So I'm thinking about how they get started. I mean, there's always got to be a bit of truth or a bit of something believable to get a cult started.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if that's true.
Or you need a bit of consensus around something, don't you?
You need something that people want. So it's like, let's go back to like the New Year's resolutions thing. Like people want to be fitter, they want to be stronger, they want to be better people. So if you offer people that, then it's enticing. Like, oh yes, I want to be better, faster, stronger.
Especially if it's an easy route.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See a lot of the like business guru, fitness guru ones that are more con than anything. Not all of them, but quite a few of them. And it's always these easy steps, or in a few short, whatever, or this simple something.
Fed up of working all day. You could get this much money in 2 hours work.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Just be a taste tester for nuclear waste.
Plutonium 237.
Now I definitely have to censor that.
You need then, if you're selling something like that, you need some people to kind of corroborate it, don't you? I mean, they don't have to be very reliable, but ideally recognizable. Like celebrity has some value in that.
Yeah, some spokesperson that has weight behind them for some reason.
Yeah, I guess it's a bit of a numbers game, perhaps. If that person has, I'm going to use an example of like a social media certain number of followers. You're playing with you're going to get a percentage of them interested. A percentage will look, a percentage will click, a percentage will follow that up. So
it's like any old scam, isn't it? Like you put enough out there, someone will take the bait.
I liked the really old one, but when the internet was new and shiny, and emails were still red, then it was the one where they'd email out the results to sort of betting fixtures.
Yes.
And they'd email 1 million out, and they'd get it right for half of them, so they'd follow that email up, and so on and so forth. And until you've got this string of emails, and they've
all
predicted right every single football game this season using this simple formula. You're like, I mean, this it's so convincing in a sense.
Put
You can
100 quid down, and then next week they get it back, that certain number of people, and then yeah.
But that's kind of similar to like the business guru ones that I see all the time, and a lot of those, they have the credibility up front just because they say they do, and they have they kind of fake it till they make people believe in this kind of thing. But then they get a certain number of people in, and from what you were saying, it's like, oh, you see a lot of the successful people saying, oh, these are my secrets to success, that kind of stuff. You're like, yeah, it worked for them, so obviously it's going to work for me. But the measure that you don't get with that, and with what you were saying, is the losers. Unless you've got a measure on how many people have tried it and not won it, then you don't have the full picture. And so you see a lot of them doing that. Yeah, these are my 4. I did these 4 things, and I achieved such and such, which may well be true, and they may well believe it, but
it's like the multi-level marketing schemes, like where you just need to sign up 7 of your friends, and then we'll start paying you this much money. But then the other 7 people need to sign up 7 friends so that they can pay their share of that what's being paid to you. And it just keeps going down and down and down and down and down. And it's only the person at the top that's really making any money.
So I guess we've touched on the reason that I would make a cult would be to make money. I can't really think of another reason. I guess you might do it to persuade people of a view that you hold strongly. If you really believe it, I can see you might kind of, as I accidentally start a cult, you by pursuing something that you believe and that other people from the outside might define as a cult. But for me, the only reason I'd do it, I guess, would be to make money. It'd be a purely cynical profit making.
Like people do it for power, whether that's power over people or like what they presume is power in terms of political sway or something like that.
I'm not going to get topical now, are we, by accident?
No, we never do anything by accident.
So there goes that defense.
Yeah.
I don't know him.
It's all these years I've thought he was a chatbot.
They use the video of Tickle Me Elmo whenever he has to appear on screen.
Again,
You
still
love
fishing for
Tickle Me Elmo.
sponsors. Still fishing for sponsors.
Hey, I would love if Sesame Street sponsored us.
Yeah. This episode is brought to you by the letter F.
By the letters W, T, and F.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I just want to meet Cookie Monster.
Now there's a cult you could start.
The Cult of the Cookie.
Yeah.
I'm fairly sure somebody's tried that somewhere sometime.
What are these? Could these be described as cults? You know, there was the whole flat Earth thing. I said
No.
was as though it's in the past, which it was in the past, but then it's had a resurgence for some bizarre reason, and I don't know whether there's genuine believers in it or whether they're just like trolling everybody. But there's probably a mix, obviously. But you know, is it a kind of a cultish thing?
Cult legitimizes it. I don't want to legitimize it in any way, shape, or form. It's wrong.
I
Yeah.
always say, whatever we talk about, I always say you have to define that. But I mean, we kind of have to define a cult a little bit. I would have called
Yeah.
that a cult, and as like, what else would you call it? But
They say like a cult following, don't they?
Yeah.
It's changed the meaning of the word, really.
I guess I've been mentally defining a cult as something like a group of people who are believing something that isn't backed up by evidence.
What we got here? Definition: a religion or religious sect generally considered to be extremist or false, with its followers often living in an unconventional manner under the guidance of an authoritarian, charismatic leader.
See, that's why I don't think the flat Earth thing
Yeah.
is a cult, because it's not groups of people gathering together and.
In what sense? Because it is groups of people. It's groups of people online.
Yeah,
That's the new
but
church,
there's
isn't
no
it?
like head of the flatness.
What about? I don't know. I mean, I guess it's a little bit much to just disagree with the dictionary definition, but I disagree with the dictionary because you can have a distributed model. Surely you don't have to have an individual charismatic head. You could have a number of charismatic heads, or chat rooms will have their more persuasive or their louder, just roughly equivalent people in them.
Yeah, I think it.
Does a word exist for what it is if you don't call it a cult?
Boris.
Anyway.
Because like there's been like controversies and like groups of people disagreeing on how things have worked in the past, but would you have called them cults? So like, does the Earth rotate around the sun, or does everything rotate around us? Were they cults?
I guess I'd like to sort of add to my definition that not just that it's not backed up by evidence, but that there is significant evidence to the contrary. So I probably wouldn't have called it a cult before it was obvious, although maybe some things were, well, without getting into specifics, I wouldn't want to call something a cult if it's not generally known the answer and well backed up by evidence. Maybe. Struggling a bit.
I mean, there's a dogma, isn't there? That's the generally held belief. Something, and that's it's usually defended, isn't it? Change is bad.
Yeah.
I saw a documentary on I think it was, I can't remember exactly what it was. The documentary was called. It was like on the Source family, Source Source family, and they're out in like Hollywood, and it was like this charismatic leader kind of thing, and drawing people to him. And they used to run like a cafe restaurant thing out in Hollywood, and it was quite famous for healthy food and all this kind of stuff. But they all dressed in white all the time, and then they had they bought a manor house, and they're all living there, and they were like, it was the whole old man leader, young women, multiple wives, kids born into it, kind of stuff. And there's interviews with some of them that were in it, and obviously it's changed their lives. Like they still have these kind of beliefs, that the spiritual kind of beliefs that were taught. So there's something, either they had that to begin with and they wanted that, and this answered that. It was around I think it said it was around the time of like the Vietnam War. There was a lot of disenfranchised youth, and this particular leader, I can't remember what his name was, but he answered what some of them were looking for. Like there were a lot of kids at that time out in America looking for father figures, and he was one, and it just kind of follow me kind of stuff.
I guess I don't know enough about that one. It sounds like maybe it's going to end up that it was a bad thing. But does a cult have to be bad?
Mm.
No, it's like going back to like the Apple thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't seem to be harming the population in general.
No, I guess you worry about people maybe spending money they don't have, that they could spend better to buy things, but it's not right up there at the top of the list of world problems, is it? It's definitely a first world kind of problem.
But then if you get too far down that way and you think people are being enticed out of their money, then where do you draw that line? Because that's advertising in general. It's just Apple did a very clever thing of there's like a 3-stage thing in some of the marketing. You end up with like you start with the casual customer who might come in and get something and buy it. Then you end up with like a follower, brand loyal, and will buy it. And then the real key money maker is when you get them from that up into what they call tribe. Then they know they're part of something, and then they get the new thing. They pre-order the new thing even before it's out and reviewed, and will defend it and are just ready to love it in the first place. They're kind of your big market.
So tribe sounds like a more palatable synonym for cult, doesn't it? That's
yeah.
I was thinking there's something slightly ironic about the Apple. I'm going to stick with cult. That they kind of gathered it through being innovative, and actually, it probably does stifle innovation quite a bit now because they've got such a market share. If people were spending their money on smaller companies, and if Apple didn't make it harder for, if they were a bit more open to using standard parts and standard software and interfacing with other things, that would be better for innovation. So it's funny they've gone from being they've made the money through being innovative, and now they're making it harder for other people to innovate. If your job is to make Apple money, then that's a totally understandable position to take. But
yeah. But I think it'll, as with anything, reach a critical kind of point. Because if they're stifling innovation, and it seems like they're stifling their own as well, because they're tied up in all these knots, aren't they? Trying to make it so other people can't repair it or exchange it.
Interestingly, Samsung have a higher market share. Of mobile phones. But they also produce cheap phones.
Yeah.
Yeah, Apple and Android. I mean, Android is. I'm using Android as a pretty broad. I mean, Samsung and Huawei and whoever else, but that basically your choice is to either run Apple or Android. There's not a. I don't know what the next biggest one is. It'll be whatever dumb phones run, I guess.
KaiOS.
That's like a moderately intelligent phone, isn't it?
it's built on Android. It's like the base level of Android. There's like the
pre-Google,
Android,
without
and
Google.
then there's Android at the bottom, and then there's stuff that built on top, and one of those layers is like Google's bit, which makes it Google Android. And so KaiOS is built on the Linuxy Androidy version underneath. And they could probably end up with a big market share because they're selling the cheap phones to get into the India market, aren't they?
Android's around 70% market share, and then Apple down at 25, and then everybody else is less than like 0.5% by what I can see.
Yeah, but Apple's 25% have got like 85% of the money.
Yeah.
That's not a real statistic, by the way. I just plucked that one out of somewhere unmentionable. But it seems like if you're charging 1,500 quid for your phone, you don't need to sell as many as somebody who's selling them for 20 quid.
It depends on how much it costs you to make it, but yeah.
But yeah, true.
Yeah, and where you make your money, I mean, presumably a lot of the Android money is made through selling the data they gather from people who have the phones.
Yeah.
That was meant as a true comment, not just a swipe it.
Well, it's like the Amazon Kindle stuff, isn't it? Each one of those is a loss leader product, isn't it? They sell those at a loss because it ties people into their ecosystem, and they know they're going to make the money back on like sales of other stuff and downloads and rentals and other. Just a way to get users into their ecosystem.
Yeah, and like it's understandable as a business. Like you want people in your ecosystem.
It's understandable. I think the way that it's more covert than I think. Like people aren't as aware of it as they think. It's like, oh, I got an e-reader. There's not a huge amount talked about it.
I like the idea that things might, what you pay for them might in some way correspond to the stuff that's actually in them, and the damage it does to mine them and ship them and build them, and maybe that'd make it slightly harder for places to like Amazon, who can afford to sell loss leaders like that. But other small companies can't afford to sell theirs at a loss, and they don't have the whole market to back it up to give away cheap ebooks and to bring the price down with authors and booksellers. That they don't have the negotiating power. It seems like everything at the minute favors the big guy.
I think again, I think it'll come to this critical mass point, and there'll be something where, like, haven't we seen it with WhatsApp recently? Loads of people have moved from WhatsApp because of their policy update. That just kind of spiraled, didn't it? They updated their policy terms and conditions for WhatsApp, and it was going to be we're now sharing more of your metadata.
But it doesn't apply in the UK because of GDPR at the moment.
At
How
the
long
moment,
that will
but
last.
we're not in the
They
European Union
are,
anymore.
But UK companies will still need to comply with European regulations if they want their data to be safe.
I think I saw a thing that Facebook is moving everyone's accounts to be the American terms and conditions. I don't have it, so I couldn't be sure if that's true. But it seems like there's probably a bit more wiggle room now. We're on our own.
But I think I use I've not used WhatsApp for ages, but I use Telegram mostly because there's like a desktop app version and I don't have a smartphone. So quite a few of the things I like groups are on Telegram, and then I got a notification from Telegram the other week, and it said, just so you know, we've just had like 25 million new subscribers use our service in the past 2 days, bringing our total up to 500 million. So as a percentage of the overall thing, that's a huge influx of people to Telegram. And they're not even the biggest. I think most people are going to Signal or something.
Signal. Yeah. I think Musk tweeted like go to Signal or something like that, which probably is worth quite a lot of people.
Did he buy any shares in it before he said that? So yeah, I mean they get to a point. I think I've always wondered how Facebook will end. Like,
Not with a bang, with a whimper. I think it's going to
yeah,
be
yeah,
slowly dwindling. I still feel like there's a kind of bubble in how advertising and people's data is valued. I really struggle to believe that it's worth what it seems to be worth. But
another documentary I saw called oh, I've struggled with the titles. Something like One Good American, I think it is, and it's about this small NSA team that could have predicted 9/11. Like they had the technology in place, and they'd written this thing that it took in all of the metadata and information and mapped it for a target area that they wanted. So all the communications and things across the internet. But it did some pre-filtering. So if it was from a US citizen, then it didn't even log it or look at it. It just immediately dismissed it, and it was all kind of encrypted until they got a court order for a certain thing and they could open it. So it was done properly in that kind of way. And for political reasons and for internal reasons, that team got pushed to one side in favor of ingesting everything without any filters and looking at everything, and the privacy thing went out the window, and they were just drowning in data and trying to comb through everything and until the and it was the key thing I took away from that was the lead guy, the lead mathematician chap for the original team. He says, like, we don't really care about the message. The metadata is kind of where all the connections and everything are. Like, they could predict when they first ran it. They could predict like when Russia took their maneuvers over the border. Where was that?
Turkey?
Ukraine?
Yeah, Ukraine, yeah.
Yeah, this team predicted it like 3 days in advance. They could tell from the metadata of all the stuff near the border and whatever this kind of stuff happens when there's an invasion going on. So it happened, and they were right pretty much all the time, just based on metadata. They weren't decrypting any of the messages.
Scary, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think how much metadata has Facebook and Google and Amazon and Apple got on each of
Yeah.
us? They'll know what you're planning on doing.
It's hard to imagine what you would do with that. You could, I guess it's really useful. So you could probably, maybe they can really accurately predict the next election. But I've never known them produce polls, but it feels like with access to that kind of data, maybe they could make predictions like that, and they can certainly sway it, can't they? Oh yeah, they do. They use it to target the advertising to change the result. That's how it works. I remember.
Yeah, that Cambridge Analytica was that one.
Yeah.
Just
It's so clever. Ignoring that it's evil, it's so clever.
Yeah.
And it's really maybe that's how Facebook ends when the generation growing up now just refuse to use what we know as the internet because it's such a privacy drain. Or maybe just whatever the biggest few VPN companies now become the the controller of all. They can't admit to having all this information and using it though, because they have to pretend that they don't.
Yeah, there'll be a culture change, and then those things will be like the Facebooks and stuff will be left out of the culture. It'll just something will happen like that. I can't.
It's so big. It's hard to imagine it with such a mass. It's hard to imagine them disappearing, and I guess they grow in other countries that are. I'd be interested to know if other countries follow through a similar cycle of. I don't know what order things came in, like Facebook and then Instagram and then Twitter or whatever. You'd think Twitter would take off earlier because it's lighter on data. That should be easier in smaller countries. And then Facebook, because it has a more. I can see an appeal to Facebook. if you imagine it as like keeping in touch with a small group of friends and family, that I can see a place in the world for that. Instagram is basically pointless. Other people like it. I don't really know what it's for.
Owned by Facebook.
On my Facebook, yeah. Doesn't matter Facebook on it. What else is the TikTok? I've never been on TikTok.
We are not that generation. I'm just gonna say that
Yeah.
right now.
In case it wasn't obvious.
That's not us. You know, it's
I was busy being contrary when Facebook became a thing, so I didn't even get that far.
So you think some kind of social media presence would be essential for us starting our own cult? Then we need to.
Yeah,
this is where we can find the.
The great thing about that is you can do it from the comfort of your own home, and you can
Have
use
you not-
bots, and you can.
You've not had enough of being in your own home this past year. Oh yeah.
And then I think about going out and seeing people, and I think, oh, I like it here.
Yeah.
There are things that I miss. I fancy a game of golf, and I was watching the snooker at the weekend. I'd like to go to the pub and play a bit of pool, play a bit of snooker. Those things would be good, but that's about the limit. Definitely, to start a cult, I'm going to do it online.
Well, yeah, but in terms of the demographic of people that would be adversely affected by the lockdown, like for mental reasons, I don't think we're high up on the risk thing. You know, we're not. This is what I choose to do.
I still think of the week when I was on my own in the house in North Yorkshire, and I didn't know the clocks had changed for a week until I finally interacted with a person and found out. I could have almost lived this year. If I'd already worked from home before this started, I could have probably lived the year and just found out. Just like, what are you talking about? What pandemic? I thought the shops were nice and quiet.
Everyone's wearing masks. I quite
I wonder
like
about
it.
this mask fashion, but it's not the strangest I've seen.
Well, maybe there are people like us out there that we just need to reach. Nah.
I think we're poor targets for a cult. I say we're all too difficult. We enjoy disagreeing too much.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we do.
But
Do we?
He does.
Since when have you disagree with me?
Well, apparently I'm the most likely to join a cult for some reason, even though I'm disagreeable.
No one's arguing. Yep, okay.
Yeah, no one's arguing.
If there was a way to bring us together, it was that. There you go.
The cult of Jack is wrong.
Yeah.
I guess I'm part of a kind of silent cult of people who've opted out of social media, but we don't get together and we don't have a charismatic leader. So we couldn't really call it a cult, but we're a group of sorts. We're a group who don't know each other. It's an interesting. Yeah, we don't know each other. Can't talk to each other. We have a similar, slightly irrational belief. So.
So if we were to take Matt's approach of the whole idea of starting this cult is to just make money, then I'm sorry, but we're going to have a social media presence.
I'm fully in favour of that. I think if I was going to look for people to join a cult, I'd look for people who've joined a social media cult already. I think people who've joined one cult are probably the right targets to join another. I like the idea of stealing a base that exists already. I mean, I feel like the people who can be persuaded to believe things. And,
flat sun society.
Yeah, flat sun. It doesn't make sense. The Earth can't be flat unless the sun is also flat.
Yeah. It's just a disc.
That explains COVID as well.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Yeah. Why it's spreading so fast.
And it's so obvious that we're not going to explain it.
It's a spinning disc.
We all know stuff
Yeah.
spreads quicker and
it
better
goes
on a
outwards.
flat surface.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it interacts with the 5G.
Which is also where Facebook is.
Oh yeah, Facebook.
Social media's on 5G.
And there's 5G in the vaccine, so you don't want to get that.
Yeah. Bill Gates put it there. Personally.
He's just there at home with a little syringe.
A syringe. That's why the supply is so slow. He's doing his best, but he has to inject every single one.
It's just his comedy vat of 5G and it's this massive syringe.
It's just a tiny little thing, and it just says it's emoticons, not emojis, because he just wants to claim the name back.
To be fair, I do miss emoticons.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
That's how it originally was called.
Yeah, they just changed the name and made a lot more of them. I think it shows a lack of imagination to make more of them. I really prefer it when they're just in characters.
Also, like, where does emojis come from? Because it's emote icons. Like, it's a way of emoting how I feel. Emoticons. Emoji is like emoji. Like,
it comes from emoticons.
But how did they get a J in there?
It sounds cuter. I'm sorry. It just sounds
Did
cute.
Apple do this? Oh, Apple did it. That's fine.
Yeah, I bet Apple did it.
Sounds Japanese-ish.
I wouldn't be surprised if it has some bringing in from another language.
Japanese, yeah. E-picture, emoji, letter, character.
There you go. It sounds cute. It's better branding. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so branding's important for a cult.
Yeah. We need an emoji. Sorry,
We need an emoji. No. In private we can call it the right thing, but in public we have to call it emoji.
Yeah.
It's like we don't admit that this is only to make money.
And it's definitely not a cult.
And there is no Lizard King.
Do I have to censor that? Don't know. Does that have to be? Do I have to cut that bit out?
We don't have a king.
Why would you have to cut that out?
A lizard.
I don't know.
You're gonna have to explain censorship rules to me one day.
That's what next week could be about.
It's
Should we censor this?
Anything that annoys me gets cut out. That's kind of how it works in general society, I think.
Have you ever listened to one of these? It's just like a 10-minute monologue of Jack. That's what these get edited down.
We just get edited out.
Yeah.
To be fair, the first practice run that we did was almost that because I couldn't find the other two audio channels. It was just it was just me sitting there like laughing to nothing, and then talking occasionally some random sentence.
Oh, that'd be quite good. Every one of these should be 3 different
16 inches long and major water.
You play them one after the other. And you just have to listen to this 3-hour marathon that only makes sense once you've listened to the whole thing and comprehended.
What if we edited a podcast together like Christopher Nolan does? Like, you seen Memento?
Yeah.
Where it's all backwards and things. There's a podcast. The Memento
podcast.
Sweet.
It still wouldn't make any sense.
We have to get one right forwards first.
Yeah.
Or maybe we're getting it right backwards. We just don't know it.
So when you play it backwards, it tries to convince people to join a cult. Is that how it works? That's a point. That kind of links in kind of a way. Like that whole you play the that Led Zeppelin song backwards, isn't it?
Yeah, you're a devil.
Yeah, there's like
Devil
words in it. Yeah, but it's like I saw a guy do a presentation. I think it was like a TED talk on it, and he was showing all these various falsehoods and things that people like, where you see patterns or hear patterns in things that aren't really there. And his whole thing was he played the song backwards and asked people to listen and see what they heard.
Mm-hmm.
Like a few people heard the Satan part, but the rest of it wasn't there. And then he put the words on the screen of what you should hear, and then you couldn't help but not hear it because you made it fit. Like, and he says, yeah, and that it's kind of a confirmation bias kind of thing, isn't it? I think in the cult thing, you've just got to give them that little first initial push of belief over the top, and then everything after that just confirms and reinforces it.
Also, can we just agree that this is a reason why vinyls are bad?
Because you can play them backwards.
Yeah. It's what started it all. It's just dangerous stuff, that. Cult beginnings.
If you're interested in our opinions on vinyls versus MP3, then you should check out the other episode that we did on analog versus digital, which hopefully by the time this one goes out will be edited and published on the TAFY podcast channel.
That was very smooth. Have you been
Yeah,
practicing?
that's very good.
I've been drinking. I'm generally a lot smoother after at least one bottle of wine.
An hour.
But no, drink aware. But anyway,
Don't drink and podcast, people.
yeah.
If we don't podcast sober, that might be the rule.
Hey,
Don't
no,
listen
Hang
sober.
on.
oh, he's got to get a drink.
I had
I
green
don't have any
tea
glasses,
today.
so
What is
A
he?
giant bottle of tequila.
Wow. What is that? Is that homebrew?
Chugging it.
It's got palm
Rum.
trees on the
Rum.
rum.
That's when you think you know a guy.
yeah, just because I only drink vodka at your house. Out of gravy boats.
We've got a dishwasher now.
That's not a nice way to call.
You can't drink vodka out of a dishwasher.
One of
Not with
that.
that attitude.
You
You
just
have to
plug
take
it
the
in,
drawers
don't
out.
you?
Yeah.
Sit inside and it just spins and covers you in it.
Vodka shower.
Now, shower beer. Shower beer is good.
Shower beer. Is that a shower of beer or a beer in the shower?
A beer in the shower. I forgot what they're called. Like a beer door in the shower. Like a nice cold beer door in the shower.
Well, what doesn't work fantastically well is a cup of tea in the shower. It's very easy
No.
to end up getting shower in your tea.
Yeah.
It's glorious for a
Although,
moment.
put it in your thermos.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Much less chance of getting watery tea.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's warm
There,
to me
there is
belly,
a
that is.
moment when you're under the shower and it's warm and you're drinking warm tea and it's just like
I have
doesn't
reached
get any
peak
better.
comfort.
Yeah.
So you realise Ryan's got a drinking problem. Like once he's finally moved into his new house, and you like might stay round when we can, and you're like, I'm just gonna go use the shower. And you go in there, it's like, oh, this is interesting shower gel, and you put it on, it's just rum.
It's optics. It's got a line of optics on the
Yeah.
side of the van. That's a good idea for your shower gel. Oh,
These aren't miniature shower gels; they're miniatures.
And the shower head is just connected to a bottle of vodka.
It's just a keg. You pump your own.
Oh, dear.
Why?
This was great.
Why drink in the? I can get down with the drinking in the bath because that's my particular vibe. But
No, I'm down with that as well.
I
the
drinking in
reason-
the bathroom, basically.
the reason I've had tea in the shower is because I've made a cup of tea and then realised I need a shower, and there's only so much time in the morning, so you just take it with you while it's hot.
But it must be like it's part of the whole like being really hot and sweaty. But this isn't going well while you're drinking. Like, it
No,
must
it's going
improve.
terribly.
It must improve the alcohol uptake somehow because it's. I don't know.
Well, I do often feel dizzy when I get out of a hot bath.
It's great, isn't it?
Having had a
couple.
drink. A couple. No, I don't read supply while I'm in the bath.
You don't take 2 bottles in with you.
No, I just wash and go. That's an old advert there.
That is a very old advert.
Yeah.
They still make that?
Wash and go, yeah. Cause it's
Do they?
It's in the pound shop now.
Yeah. They might have had to change the thing. That implies.
Oh no, it's a thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's a thing.
All our supplies like that down the Aldi, so it's not called wash and go. Could be called go and wash.
Go and wash.
That's a brilliant brand name. It feels like it's one of like those eco brands. Just go and wash.
Because you're a hippie and you smell.
I was trying to decide what to buy around for a housewarming present, and now I've got it. Bottle of Go and Wash.
Oh dear.
It's
Nearly had a rum shower then.
Yeah, it's 95% brandy. All your booze disguised as shower products.
To be fair, my grandma used to keep a bottle of sherry under the tea cozy. So I think it just runs in the
feels like a
family.
terrible disguise, was it? Not like elevated, really. Because she also fed the garden gnomes, so.
She's superstitious, or was it just a...
No, it's just somewhere to keep the sherry, wasn't it? Out of view.
Okay.
Within easy reach.
Yeah.
If you ever need an Irish coffee, it's fairly easy to... I don't know if you put sherry in coffee.
I don't think it's sherry. I think
It's
it might be
Baileys.
whiskey.
Vodka in tea doesn't work very well.
No.
No.
Like a weaponized lemsip or something. That I don't know what that is.
It was brutal. Yeah, that's what it was.
You got like a hot alcoholic drink and like the vapors coming off the top. Yep. You just get in. You just go for a drink and it's like hot.
Yep.
Whenever I got a cold, I was sick. Used to have a hot whiskey, honey, and lemonade.
Lemonade?
Yeah, well, it's like a hot toddy, but lemonade instead of water.
Lemon.
Yeah, lemon. Yeah, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Katie likes it with golden syrup instead of honey. If you're ever feeling like you need some hot alcohol, then
I just have it in the bath. It's great. Just set your cup in the water.
I thought you meant you a bath full of brandy.
Not yet. Not until I get my own place.
It's expensive, but you can just keep reusing the same brandy water, right?
It'll kill everything in there.
It's already brown, and it's pretty. Yeah, it's going to kill everything in there.
Just need there's like swimming pool, like pond net type thing. You just need one of them. Just
fish out the floaters.
Yeah. I think it might have some effects, undesirable effects.
Like what?
Well, I just from
like
personal experience, like in our shower, we got a new shower gel, and it was like one of these menthol shower gel things, and I used it, but I possibly used it in some of the wrong places, because I was like, ooh, this
tingly.
It's not going away. It's not. I've washed, I've rinsed, I'm out. It's not going away. I think maybe teabagging into a bath full of brandy. May.
Oh, can you imagine if you had like you've been working, you got loads of little paper cuts or like little cuts on anywhere,
and your fingers.
Oh, it'd be like getting into a salt bath.
Oh, who would do such a thing, Matthew?
I'm pretty sure my mum invented that on that occasion. No one ever before or since has got in a bath full of salt because you're covered in cuts. That's just. I think it was a punishment. To this day, I don't know what I did wrong. I just know I was punished for it.
But why was I punished as well?
Association.
Yeah. She thought you were part of the cult.
We've not found a belief that people are looking for. I think if we start there, what are people looking for? Something easy. Promise of something easy. Bath time drinking.
Happiness.
Yeah.
Thinking of something like I'm a fan of the idea of a universal basic income. I'm sure there's something we can do around. I feel like we're heading towards a place where there aren't enough jobs for the people, or at least not good jobs.
Mm.
And I'm sure there's some kind of area we could work with where the ideal life is to not work, and that you should be paid to not work.
Are you tired of working for the man?
Yeah, we definitely need an American to do all our voiceovers.
The voiceover guy from all the trailers.
Yeah.
Oh, movie voice.
In a world where you don't have to work, join us as we journey through the life of not working for the man.
Doing a kind of a pan-global accent.
Oh, yes, we could get into Wales next, I think.
There are other kind of cultish things like the flying spaghetti monster that no one really believed, but people put on the census forms and things.
Mm.
I don't know how we'd monetize that though. T-shirts.
Trademark.
Do you want to legitimize your cult?
Yeah, we could just make T-shirts for cults.
We could be the marketing team behind all the cults.
Ooh.
I did think that
Like, we would be
have
a cult of cults.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Let's try and join cults up.
Yes.
There must be some overlap, and we should connect different countries as well.
Yes. Yeah. For just £10 a day, we will deal with all your marketing deal.
Ooh. That's very cheap.
Per member.
Ah, I see. Okay.
But it gets cheaper once you get over a certain number of members.
Yeah, over 100 members, we drop it down to £7 per member.
Yeah.
How many members have you got?
Counts as 2.
Oh, you might want to get that checked.
I check it myself, thank you, frequently. So
these long baths with a bottle of wine is.
I never said they were long baths.
Didn't take long to check it at all.
How did you know that?
I thought that's what your other podcast was. That's on your stream. Well, now you can't get out. You can't go dogging in the conventional sense, but you can still live stream your bath time.
Whoa.
I am curious to see just how drunk Ryan will get in a bath full of brandy.
You buy the brandy, I'll supply the bath.
And I'll film it.
You're just a bit kinky, aren't you?
I'm wondering.
You have no idea.
I bet a litre of sort of Tesco brandy is going to be 5 to 10 quid.
Right.
How many litres do you think we need for a bath?
Ooh.
20 litres and get you a...
Ryan should know this. He's been buying houses, so he knows all the
80 litres.
There,
80 litres. Oh man, you won't get in a bath. You'll barely get your toes wet.
How much brandy is sort by price, low to high.
I think we might brew it in your bath. That might be the best thing.
Get it down to £15 a litre.
Oh wow!
Coming up quite a lot.
I wonder if other supermarkets have.
Other supermarkets are available. This might kill you. There's a chance.
But it's all right. Jack's filming it.
Yeah, and if you do go, can you leave the brandy to me? And you will. Can I have the brandy?
Why are you still drinking it? At least lift him out.
Put that straw down.
That's not a straw.
Oh, hello.
Wasn't it Nelson? Wasn't it Admiral Lord Nelson that they brought back in a barrel full of brandy? I think it was.
To preserve him.
Yeah, I think it was actually, wasn't it? So, what, 80 litres times £15 per litre?
I mean, we don't have to do it a deep bath. We could go like 40 litres for like...
Like 1,200 quid, is it? Something like that. 3 times 5 times 80.
Yeah, like the cheapest I can find is 15 quid a litre.
It's that rule that put a minimum price on alcohol that must have done it.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So is it cheaper to go abroad and buy the brandy? I think it might be.
Could somebody name a French supermarket?
Yes.
Lipomache.
Frenchclick.co.uk.
Co.uk.
Or- like it might be rude.
Are there not smaller baths? Can we not find a smaller bath?
Well, that's why I said like go to like 40 litres.
Can't we put you in the sink?
Oh, that's small.
Or have we got like a paddling pool? We just pour 1 litre over you repeatedly.
Have you got some waterproofs? We'll tape up the exits and we'll just pour it in through the neck.
Yes, a wetsuit.
I've got a wetsuit, but
Yeah.
so you can kind of soak me in it.
That'll do.
This could be it. This could be how we show
Die.
people we lost lots of weight. You just prune him. Prune like the fruit,
yeah, there's
not prune like the tree.
There's a question.
Yeah.
Will I try and equalize the solution of alcohol by...
Undoubtedly.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure you'll absorb some of it. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it'll drive.
Well, no, but I'm more
somewhat-
worried about losing all the water out of my body.
Yeah. I think some of that will occur.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Cool.
They're like one of those like specimen jars you get in the Natural History Museum. The sound was brought to you by
Buttplugs.com. Still looking for sponsors.
Could we not have got a British sponsorship?
That's your complaint there. Okay.
Trying to stay local with everything these days, you know.
Admirable.
Yeah. Well, you can't take an act like that on the road. You don't want to travel too far with that.
Oh, it's uncomfortable.
Get pulled over. Is your trip essential? Yes.
I'm working.
I'm working. Traveling.
I'm a key worker.
Salesman.
Everyone's a bit uptight recently, you know.
I'm administering jabs.
Is that our product name?
Yeah.
Jab.
The jab.
Freelance jabbers.
The Jolly Jabbers. I like it.
You remember the thing, the toy, the jibber jabber? Just imagining one of them with an end on it. You just sit there and waggle.
I don't remember
I
it.
don't
You don't
remember
remember
that.
jibber jabbers?
No, you're in a group of one there.
Oh.
I am not convinced about this particular episode of the podcast, I must say. I mean, I'm an hour in at the moment, and
Yeah, we didn't wholly concentrate on starting cults, but
no, don't they abuse like members? Isn't there like solitary confinement stuff and all that kind of thing that they do? Is it? Ryan's just gone offline to laugh at.
I think he's going to show us a jibber. Show us his jibber jabber. I'm
I know,
afraid
he's putting links in the chat. Oh my goodness. Well, there seems like a very good place to end this, as we've reached an hour, and we've probably got about 10 minutes worth of providing occult content.
You should spend. Oh, so we should spend an hour watching jibber jabbers now. This is amazing.
Well, if we recorded the video, we could do a React channel. Well, we will start a cult at some point. Although we're struggling to start a podcast. So I don't know how well we get on with an actual cult. But lots to think about there, so thanks very much.